Welcome back, my friends, to the show that never ends. We're so glad you could attend. Come inside, come inside.
And welcome to The Price of Business on Talk 650, powered by CBS Radio. This is the show that never ends, and you can look us up online at www.priceofbusiness.com. Right now I have Kevin Price on the line, and he has a very special guest joining us for today.
Hey, thanks very much. I appreciate it, and I appreciate the work you've been doing there, Chris Kelso, and keep it up. Got my friend Lynn Fisher in. We got him in. He, of course, is with BakerCommunications.com, the premier customer relations and sales training institution, working with roughly half of all the Fortune 500 companies out there, which is why we tap into their expertise every week here. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Kevin. Good morning. Always great to be with you.
Hey, you bet. Let's jump right in. We have a series going, and for those who foolishly missed the earlier parts of the series, why don't you just kind of give us the 411, if you will, on the series and introduce today's topic?
You bet, you bet. I'm really excited to be sharing this segment, which is all about maximizing your personal productivity. And this is actually the third segment in a total of 6. And you can check out all of our archived segments online at BakerCommunications.com. But today, we're going to be talking about best practices for managing deadlines. And, you know, Kevin, I've worked as a consultant for over 15 years for myself, as well as a lot of small and large companies. And the one constant is that there's only so much time to do only so much work. And you only have so much energy to accomplish those outcomes that will make you successful. So, you know, over the last 22 plus years in business, I've seen many people use many different strategies to get it done. And today we're going to talk about 5 tactics that you can use to build stronger personal discipline around goals and accomplishing deadlines. But let me ask you something, Kevin. You have a very rigid schedule, very immovable schedule at The Price of Business. What are some of your basic strategies for, managing deadlines and getting it done?
Yeah, that's a great point. It's a great question. First of all, I think one of the most important things is delegate to the best people, making sure that things are getting done. And then second of all, holding those people accountable in that delegation and making sure that I have reminders, be it literally reminders, and probably my best reminder is Cindy Sharp, who's my assistant, my personal assistant. But those are some of the things I do. Frankly, I'm a very macro personality, even though I'm in a very somewhat structured industry. And so I depend a lot on the help of others to keep me in the right direction.
Yeah, you know what? That's great, and a lot of us actually have that luxury and that opportunity to work with others in that fashion. But a lot of times we don't have that luxury. And let me just set this up with a metaphor. Today's show is all about climbing a mountain. If you're planning on climbing K2, you prepare by breaking down that climb in stages. Now, if you were to be 20 miles away from the mountain K2, looking at it as one singular objective, it would seem to be impossible and, quite frankly, emotionally overwhelming. However, if you break that climb down in terms of base camps and stages, the effort to get to the summit becomes very doable. So, the old question or adage is, how do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time, right? So, this segment is actually very timely for me personally, and, I'm facing some massive projects that are, complex and appear to be very daunting. And, in the last few weeks, I've felt a bit overwhelmed, just like everybody does. No matter how good you are at these things, you still can get into that trap of feeling overwhelmed. So we're going to talk about 5 quick strategies that can help you accomplish those objectives with less time and less stress. So let me just give you the bullets on each one, and I'll just talk quickly about them. So the first one is start your day as early as possible. The second would be build momentum to get to speed. The third is do things in 3s. Fourth, work expands or contracts with the time allotted. It's one of the ones I really, really like. We're going to talk more about that. And finally, everybody can identify with this. Avoid the 11th hour fire drill. So those 5 principles are key to actually helping you accomplish more and breaking those deadlines down. So,
okay, let's. I know it's unorthodox, but the 2 in there that I think most people would have questions with would be 3 and 4. Do you mind elaborating on those first?
Sure, 3 and 4. Do it in threes, and work expands or contracts with the time allotted. So, one of the things, actually, let me build on building momentum to get to speed. I like to think of things in metaphors, and that'll lead us into the third principle. But like an airplane, you have to have enough speed and momentum to create lift from the wings to actually fly. And just like business, momentum is key to being mentally prepared. So you basically have to get enough inertia and momentum in your day so that you can actually carry that through. Have you ever heard somebody say, hey, Kevin, today's going great, I'm on such a roll? You ever heard that expression? Yeah, so have I. And what that means is that people have created enough inertia in their day that they're being carried forward by their accomplishments and declaring victory over the smaller battles. So remember, you can manufacture this momentum, and one of the ways of doing that is the third principle, which is do things in threes. If you can do something in batch and do things that help you create momentum, it's much easier to do that than to do things one-off. That's really how Ford created the manufacturing assembly line. He recognized that doing things in batch, one at a time, and staying focused can actually create momentum and create a lot of productivity. So,
now let me kind of hold you accountable to some of our recent programs. So, how differentiate that from being caught up in multitasking?
Well, actually doing things in three is not multitasking. It's doing similar tasks that you can basically gain speed and effectiveness by keeping your brain focused on accomplishing those things. So it's really doing things that are similar to each other, not doing three different things at the same time. Thank you for keeping me accountable.
Killing two birds with one stone would be analogous to that, trying to do that type of thing.
Exactly, and doing things in batch so you can declare victory is an easy way to gain momentum. The next principle is work expands or contracts with the time allotted. Isn't it strange that when you allow yourself 2 hours to get a 1 hour job done, that 9 times out of 10 it takes you 2 hours? And conversely, when you give yourself 45 minutes to get a 1 hour job done, it usually gets done in 45 minutes. Yeah. And that's because when you give yourself the less time or more time, your brain naturally expands and plans for accomplishing that goal in that way. And when you understand this principle, like when you delegate to someone, Kevin, do you usually give people more time than necessary, or try to push them a little bit harder to give them less time so that they're actually going to get it done more often than not? Which do you do?
I seem to be pushing them a little bit. I seem to.
Right, and within reason, I recommend that everybody shorten the time that you give yourself for tasks as well as give others for tasks and see what happens.
Yeah, they'll typically tell you if they can't do it. I mean, they'll typically tell you, and then you can modify and make it reasonable. But I think you're right, and I think that we all have a better sense of accomplishment when we operate that way.
Absolutely, and one of the last things that we can all appreciate is this: avoid the 11th hour fire drill. And I am so guilty of this. Anybody that's worked with me knows that every once in a while we get into these fire drills because there's so much to deal with. But the reality is, most of us can relate to this, relative to cramming for finals. Rather than a steady flow of minor objectives broken down over the course of time, we wait until we're motivated by the potential of a missed deadline. And really, what we're doing is we're manufacturing urgency and momentum. And rather than using the 11th hour fire drill as a way to, get yourself hyper-focused on a task or deadline, if you break up the work in logical, smaller pieces over the course of time, you'll be able to actually get that deadline done with less effort and less stress. And, you'll be able to claim victory over the battle. And the little principle here is, remember, you will win more wars by focusing on winning smaller battles along the way.
Got it. Very good stuff. It's phenomenal. By the way, I got to tell you, I've been checking my work over the last couple of weeks and saying, man, I notice I'm chasing rabbits. I notice I'm having my ADD moments, and I'm trying to drill in these principles, and I'm seeing a quantifiable difference in my own work performance for the principles you and Walter Rogers are bringing to the program.
We have about 45 seconds, by the way.
Yeah, so I really appreciate that. All right, very good stuff. Remember, it's Baker Communications. Lynn Fisher, one of the brilliant men there, one of the brilliant people there, and I'm going to take it back to my good host there, Chris Kelso.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate it. You guys were great, and as always, you can hear them next week on this 6-part series. You are listening to The Price of Business on Talk 650, powered by CBS Radio. Stay tuned. We will be right back.